Gospel night. If there's a guest book that we have for you, if you saw that, you get a chance to sign it, maybe just on the way out. Just want to let you know that we are genuinely glad that you are here. I think it's for a purpose and for a reason. And I know that in this room we're here for different reasons. Maybe we're planning this thing, very involved. Maybe we're just curious and walking by, or maybe we're just here because a friend invited us, and we wanted to be polite and kind of appease the request to come. So either way, regardless, we're glad that you're here, and just thank you for the time that you're taking out of your day to listen to us. What we're going to do is Nate's going to lead us in a few worship songs. Stand if you feel comfortable. If not, that's fine. Then we're going to hear just a few stories about from a few people about what Jesus has done in our lives. But without further ado, I'm just going to hand the mic off to Erica, and we'll lead us in a few songs.
Thanks, Justin.
All right, so you guys can stand if you feel comfortable. We're going to sing a song called How Great Is Our God.
Trembled at his voice.
how great is our God. Let's sing. My soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art, and save my soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. Sing how great. And how great is our God. Sing with me, how great is our God. Oh, see how great is our God. Sing that one more time. And how great is our God. Sing with me, how great is our God. And all will see how great is our God. So, thank you guys all so much for coming tonight. We're really glad that everyone's here. And if you've never been in like a church service or an InterVarsity or a Basic or Newman or any kind of fellowship meeting, a lot of us we do this thing called worship. Is what we're doing right now. It's singing songs to God to tell Him, how much we're thankful for things and how much we love Him. So that's what we're doing. And we're going to sing another song real quick. I'm going to set the guitar down. So feel free to sing along if you feel inclined.
Jealous for me. Love's like a hurricane, and I am a tree, bending beneath the weight of His wind and mercy. When all of a sudden I am unaware of these afflictions eclipsed by glory, and I realize just how beautiful you are and how great your affections are for me. And oh, how He loves us so. Oh, how He loves us. How He loves us so. We are His portion and He is our prize, drawn to redemption by the grace in His eyes. If grace is an ocean, we're all sinking. So heaven meets earth like an unforeseen kiss, and my heart turns violently inside of my chest. I don't have time to maintain these regrets when I think about the way that He loves us. Oh, how He loves us. Oh, how He loves us. Oh, how portion and He is our prize. Drawn to redemption by the grace in His eyes. If grace is an ocean, we're all sinking. And heaven meets earth like an unforeseen kiss, and my heart turns violently inside of my chest. I don't have time to maintain these regrets when I think about the way that He loves us. Oh, how He loves us. Oh, how He loves us. Oh, how He loves. Yeah, He loves us. Oh, how He loves us. Oh, how He loves us. Oh, how He loves. And oh, how He loves us so. Oh, how He loves us. How He loves us so.
Thanks. You guys can have a seat, and we're going to have some testimony.
Thanks, Nate. Next, we're going to hear 3 stories just about the way what Jesus has done in their lives. And those 3 people are Becca Steinke, Mike Strupa, and David Ripple. One of the best things about preparing for this and going to the meetings was to be able to hear these stories, and just a reminder that there's not a certain type of person that God saves, and He's not restricted in the way He does it. So that was just one of the great things, to be able to sit around the table and hear those stories, and just really encouraging and listening to me. And just before we go any further, I just want to pray real quick. Father, thank You for tonight. Thank You for every single person in this room. Help us and meet us where we are, wherever that's at, that we would have an open heart and open mind to the things that are said tonight. In your name we pray. So before, I think Becca's first. So Becca, if you would come up and share your story with us, that would be great.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for coming out to listen to us. It's nice to we're going to be starting with just kind of informal stories of our personal journeys of faith. Mine began from a very young age. I was raised in what many people would call a Christian home. My dad was a pastor for many years. And from the time I was basically 2, I was taught about the Bible and about Jesus and about what He had done for me. And I believed in it, and I knew it was true. But it never really sank in all the way, and it didn't really affect my life in a real and meaningful way. I lived just kind of like everyone else. I thought that life was about fitting in and being cool and making friends or making the best out of things. And I even thought that life was about pleasing God or being a good person. I thought that was what I was supposed to do. So from a young age, my understanding of God was kind of warped in a way. I saw Him almost as my Santa, like someone that you just kind of pray to when you're in trouble, or who gives you good gifts and good things. I used to pray to Him at night that I would wake up in the morning and that I would have blue eyes, because I thought that was the most beautiful thing ever. I was like, oh, if I have blue eyes, then life will be perfect. And so I used to pray every night for that. I used to pray that I would win games or competitions. I used to pray that even that I would be a good girl, or that I would be able to have a perfect life or things like that. That's what I thought. I thought God was Santa. He gave you good gifts if you were a good person. That was my understanding. A major change, though, came in my life when I entered 8th grade. I switched school districts, and I remember walking into the lunchroom on the first day and knowing absolutely no one. It was terrible. You're alone. You don't have any friends. I was invited to sit with this group of girls at their table, but less than 3 months later, they kicked me out and replaced me with another girl. And that began a period of time in my life where I began to doubt myself and who I was. I became very, very insecure and wanting to please everyone. I thought that I had to be the center of attention in order to get people to like me and to be cool and whatever. I thought that I had to be perfect. I thought I had to have perfect looks, perfect grades, perfect likableness, like have everyone love me. So my life became obsessed with living a lie, really. I pretended I was someone I wasn't. I would switch who I was based on what friends group I was with. If I was with these people, I would act like this or be cool with them like this. Then I would switch over to these people and hang out with them, and I would act totally and completely different because I knew that they liked a different kind of person, and that they saw me differently. Same thing in church. I pretended I was like, oh yeah, I love God, you know. I'm all into that and stuff. I always pretended. And no matter who I was, where I was, I didn't know who I was. I was living a lie. I was being fake. I wasn't being real. I didn't know who I really was anymore. I knew the truth deep down, that Jesus had died for me and that he loved me, but that was so long ago. It was like 2,000 years ago. I'm like, how does that apply to me now? How is that going to help me in my life? However, a major change came. There was someone who knew me when I was younger, and she kind of moved away. She was a lady who was one of the leaders in my youth group in my church, but she came back, and a few months into my sophomore year, she came up to me and she was like, Becca, you're living a lie right now, and you're living on the fence. You're not living for God, but you're not rejecting him. You're not living a full-out life. You're pretending to be someone that you're not. And she instantly knew what my situation was. I had pretended everything was cool with her. I'd smile at her, and she'd ask how I was doing. I was like, oh, yeah, I'm fine. But she saw through it instantly. It was like, no, you need to change. And that really sparked something in me. I knew at that moment that what I was doing was never going to fulfill me. It was never going to allow me to be my real self. It was never going to give me freedom and passion and love in life. I was dead. I was a dead person walking around like a zombie. I was so fake and so full of lies and so full of crap, I didn't even know who I really was. But that instant, she saw through me, and that made me want to change. I prayed that night, and I was like, God, I know I believe in you, and I know you're real, but I want you to be real in my life, right here, right now. I want you to be someone that I can actually live for. I want to have a free life, a fulfilled life, a life filled with meaning and purpose and with love and with confidence. And when I prayed, I felt the presence of God come, and a peace came over me, and I knew that he was going to change things around. My life began to take a different direction from that moment on. I lost a lot of friends, but they were not real friends anyway. They were people I'd just been pretending around because I started acting like my real self. I stopped being obsessive about my appearance. I used to spend hours and waste so much time straightening my hair every day, wearing makeup, making sure my outfit was absolutely perfect, or whatever. I used to spend hours also almost like fantasizing about my life and making up lies about who I was. I used to pretend all the time, oh, I'm this person or this thing, or, you know, I'm really cool and people like me, blah, blah, blah. I used to tell myself all that stuff all the time because I needed to feel accepted. I needed to feel loved. But now I didn't need to anymore because I realized that God was the one who really loved me. Jesus was the one who really loved me, and he knew my real identity and my real self. I began to see who I really was. As I read the Bible, the scriptures, they came alive, and the things that it said about me, that I was loved, that I was accepted, that I was perfect in his eyes. I didn't need to strive to be perfect anymore. I didn't need to pretend. And that he saw who I was, my mistakes, my failures, my insecurity, my weakness, but he loved it all the same, and that he had a plan for me and a purpose, and that he knew my destiny and who I was really meant to be in life. That totally changed my whole perspective. Now, when I see people, I don't see them anymore as someone to please or try and be their friend just to fit in or be cool, or also to compete with and try and be like, oh, I'm cooler than that, I'm better. I don't see life as a totem pole anymore of, I have to be here or this or that. I see life as God loves me and he loves each of you, and he wants you to find your identity and to walk out in it and live out the calling that he has given you. I also don't see myself anymore the way I used to with all the lies and things I was telling myself. I'm okay with who I am, but not only that, I love who I am because God loves me, not because I'm perfect, but because he loves me. I don't have to please anyone anymore. I don't have to pretend. He is the only one that I care about. His opinion is the only opinion that matters. So what my hope is for you is that you can also find this joy, this relief. People say I'm really happy, I smile all the time. Even in cross-country races, sometimes people are like, you were smiling during that race. And I'm like, no, I wasn't, but I don't know, I guess it was just the joy that comes out of me. God has given me such a joy and a freedom now that I know who I am in Him. My hope is that each of you will also know this joy, and that one day, as I will see Him face to face, one day you also will be able to do the same. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm not much of a public speaker, so I actually wrote my testimony out. I didn't want to leave any details out, so I hope you don't mind if I read it. So, introduction, I've been told, sounds like a Christian Mingle account. I promise you I do not have an account on Christian Mingle. So, I'll start. Hi, my name is Michael Scupa. I'm a senior biology major at SUNY Geneseo, who's looking forward to working in the medical field someday. I'm also an EMT and a member of Geneseo First Response. I enjoy music and sports. Baseball and hockey are my favorite. I've been blessed with many friends, both Christian and non-Christian, whom I love and enjoy spending time with. I enjoy all these things, but they do not define me. I would like to be defined as a Christian. A follower of Jesus Christ. Looking back, my mom has always assured me that God had His hand on me from the beginning of my life, because I was born with complications. However, as a young child, I would not say I grew up in a Christian home with Christian values. I must admit, I always had a strong connection with God. I would pray all the time, and I felt a close relationship with Him. Unfortunately, as I grew older, the world started to pull on me, and God's voice became fainter, and the voice of the world became louder. In high school, I defined myself as an athlete. I played on my school's hockey team and baseball teams. I had many friends and was well liked. I would go to parties, but I never really drank, and I never did drugs. I couldn't be doing that stuff and simultaneously be playing at my full potential. In high school, I met a girl named Nicole, and we began dating. She was my high school sweetheart. We were very similar in many ways and happy together. At this point in my life, God was becoming a distant memory. I guess I never gave much thought or noticed it happening because everything was going my way. As time went on, in high school I began experiencing some health issues. I went to the doctors, and after extensive tests and many doctor appointments, they diagnosed me with ulcerative colitis. They told me they did not have a cure for this disease in the U.S., but they did have many medical treatments. The only problem was these treatments did not work for everyone. I began a mild treatment, taking 2 pills every day. This did not work for me. My symptoms got worse, but the doctors were not willing to put me on more aggressive medications. The symptoms became very bad. I began to lose weight. At this point in my life, I usually weighed 180 pounds, and my weight had been reduced to 135 pounds. I was anemic, extremely tired, and I was living every day in pain. My stomach felt like someone was stabbing me with a knife and twisting it day and night. It robbed me of sleep and any quality of life. The pain was so bad that it started to affect me mentally. Living with it every day was bigger than me. I remember driving home late one night thinking, if I could just push down hard on this gas pedal and run this car into a tree, I could end all the pain. It was unbearable. Eventually I went back to the doctors and they found out the disease was aggressively moving, and I now had a very severe case. They put me on a more intense medication. It was an immunosuppressant with very scary side effects. Some side effects, should they develop, could result in harsh allergic reactions, pancreatitis, or rare blood cancers. I remember forcing myself to attend a Mother's Day cruise and pretending I was feeling really good that day for my mom's sake, when in fact, I was feeling quite ill. You see, my dad was out of town, and I wanted to do something special with my mom. I went home after the cruise and laid on my bed. I was supposed to go to work that day. My mom came in and said, "Michael, are you okay?" I said, "Yes, I need to go to work." She turned me around and saw tears rolling down my face. I never wanted my mom to see me in pain, so I would try to hide it. It didn't work this time. I said, "Mom, if I have to live like this every day, I just want to die." I can't even imagine how hard it must have been for a mother to hear her son say those words. With this, my mom said, "You are not going to work, you are going to the emergency room." I went to the Albany Medical Center ER, and they discovered I had developed pancreatitis only 3 days after being on this new medication. They admitted me for 2 weeks. During this stay in the hospital, I found my mental state deteriorating. I began to have awful thoughts running through my head. That night, I called my girlfriend, Nicole. We were always there for each other. I could always count on her, encouragement to lift my spirits. I called her and said, "Nicole, can you come visit me tomorrow?" With this, she responded by saying, "I can't. I have schoolwork and college apps I need to get done." I was crushed. Never in my life had I felt so alone. I tried to be understanding because in actuality, Nicole really didn't know the whole situation. I wanted everything kept confidential at this point, believing I was going to beat this thing. I looked at my life and everything that had defined me up until that point, and it seemed to no longer exist. I couldn't play hockey or baseball. I was too sick. I never really put effort into school because my focus was always on sports, and now I realize just how conditional love could be. It was in the hospital room that I dropped to the side of my bed and cried out to God for the first time since the disease presented itself and said, "Lord, I need you. I am alone. I am nothing without you. I live every day in pain. I can't do the things I once enjoyed. My mind is not sound. I'm hurting emotionally, physically, and spiritually. Please, Lord, forgive me for my sins and heal me in all these areas." After that prayer, I felt peace that transcends all understanding come over me. I truly believe that Jesus met me where I was that day, and this is the moment I was saved. Eventually, I was released from the hospital. At this time, I was at a junior college playing baseball, and my girlfriend Nicole and I broke up. And I found myself filled with anger, hate, sadness, depression, and disappointment. After everything I went through, my college baseball career was off to a rough start as well. Although I prayed in the hospital, I was still walking in darkness. I turned to partying to try to numb the pain. When that didn't do it, I started smoking weed, something that I never had done before. All of this stuff didn't work. It's amazing to me how you can be in a room full of people at a party and still feel so alone. I was still in a very dark place, and I forgot about the peace I felt in the hospital that day. One night, 2 of my teammates and I left a party and drove down into the ghetto of Schenectady and purchased some weed. We went back to the house and lit up. The party was over, and I was drunk and high. There was no way I was going to be able to drive home, so I ended up spending the night at the baseball house. Once again, I found myself in a dark room by myself, drunk, high, and left to my thoughts. For some reason, this high was different from the others. Tonight, I felt my heart pounding as if it was going to jump out of my chest. I started to see visions of a newspaper, and in the obituary column, I saw my name, and I saw my mother sitting at a table crying. I thought I was going to have a heart attack this night and die. Once again, I found myself praying to God in this dark room as I rocked back and forth. "Please, God, don't let me die." Over and over, I said this. Needless to say, I survived that night. I never had that reaction before when I smoked weed, and I'm convinced that it was laced with something. Once again, God's grace saw me through, even though I was not following Him or trusting Him with my life. He was still faithful to His promise that He would never leave me or forsake me. Even when I abandoned Him, He continued to be faithful. Once I graduated from junior college, I came to Geneseo. Of course, my first year here, the partying didn't stop. Even worse, the little faith I had was being shaken by academia, which was very biased and one-sided from a curriculum standpoint. I found myself turning to God again, in prayer, saying, God, if you're real, I need something to hold on to because I keep stumbling. A few days later, I was going home for Christmas break, and I walked down the stairs of Niagara, and I saw one of the janitors, and he asked, what are you doing for Christmas? His name is Daryl, and he shared his Christian walk with me. I didn't realize it at the time, but I believe God sent Daryl into my life for a specific purpose. God's response to my calling out to him didn't stop there. When I returned to Geneseo, Daryl and I started studying the Bible, and I started to actually understand it. This was the beginning of my new journey. I was introduced to a student body of believers who continue to encourage me in my walk on a regular basis. I started to attend church every Sunday, whether at home or in Geneseo. Believers had prayed over me, and ironically, my symptoms have diminished. All of my doctors at Albany Med, which consisted of a team of 7, are in awe of my recovery. The head doctor who cared for me saw the whole ordeal, called it a miracle. I am so blessed. Until I started to seriously read the Bible and understand its principles, I was not aware that Jesus had not only died for my sins, but also for my infirmities. Jesus is no respecter of man, and this gift is there for anyone. He paid a dear price for it, so never hesitate to go to the cross and ask for this gift. This is the end of my testimony, and the message I would like for you to take with you is this. In the book of Matthew, Jesus says, come to me, all you who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and lowly in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. No matter what you are burdened with, whether it be anger, physical or mental pain, stress, broken relationships, hate, whatever it may be, Jesus says, bring it to me, and I will take it from you, and he will give you his yoke and his burden, which is much lighter than what you are carrying today. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Dave Ripple. I'm a freshman here at Geneseo. I'm a communications major, and I play on the hockey team here. I'm going to tell you a little bit about my family and how I grew up. And my family, I grew up never going to church, not in a Christian home. And I have 3 sisters, 23, 20, and 8, and 7. And they're my 3 best friends. Family's first in my life, and family has always been first. It was first in my life, and it's been a thing that we already take pride in. And my sisters are my 3 best friends. I talk to them all the time, and they're awesome. And my mom and dad, they're the best parents I could ask for. And so as far as the home, I grew up in a great home, and I grew up playing sports my whole life, and sports have kind of been where I found myself and found my identity. And I grew up playing hockey for my whole life pretty much until high school. I played a little bit of football, but I've always been I like to say I've been a good athlete. And I went to a boarding school, a really nice boarding school, and I was thankful to go to a boarding school like that. It was a really good school, one of the top schools in the country, and got to live there with all my teammates on my hockey team and pursue my dream of playing hockey at the next level. And my family, as far as we're a pretty wealthy family. We have a good amount of money, and I've always kind of been given everything in my life, and I've always had everything I needed. I never really was material-wise. I was never needing anything. I've always had a car. I've always had the things that people think they need, and so people always looking at my life. They always say oh well, you have it all. You have this, you have that, and everyone thought I had the perfect life, and I had the perfect family, and I had the perfect everything. And so I grew up my whole life like that through high school, and then it went to the next level to juniors, and I was recruited to play in Wisconsin, played my junior hockey there, and I was doing well in hockey, and I thought I was going to play at the next level, Division I level. I thought I was going to play Division I hockey, get a scholarship. But I'm going to flash back now to high school and talk a little bit about my faith and talk about where I was before I came to Christ. And so high school was really the age where you kind of start to get life and start to understand really what life's all about, and I didn't. And I grew up in high school thinking that it'd be cool to be the funny guy in class, the class clown. I'd be the athlete of school. I wanted everyone to like me. I thought it'd be cool to be liked by everyone. And I thought I was a funny guy. I thought I was a really good athlete. I thought I was a superstar. And I thought I was going to the NHL for sure, no doubt in my mind. And I didn't. I'm not going to the NHL. And so through high school, I believed you lived and died, and that was it. A lot of people in my life have, I've been around a lot of Christians in my life through high school, and I thought they were crazy. I was like, what are you guys doing? And especially my best friend, he grew up a Christian, and I was like, that kid's weird, like my best friend's weird. And but we're still great friends, and so I had him in my life, and I've always been around Christians. I've always been attracted to him, but I never really got it. I never really cared. I never really listened, and so I was through high school. I lived for myself. I lived for my own desires. I lived to please myself. I had the family. I had the things that we wanted. I had the car. I lived in Florida. I went to the beach. I had hockey. I had everything I wanted, and that's all I cared about. And I had the friends. People thought I was funny, and so in high school I pursued things of myself. I pursued women. I pursued women a lot. I thought it was cool to be a ladies' man. I thought that was a cool thing to do. I thought that was what people liked. People thought it was cool if you hung out with girls. So I pursued that. And I never drank though in high school. I thought drinking was bad. And because I never drank, I thought it was okay that I hung out with women because if you didn't drink, you're a good kid in high school because everyone drinks. So I'm a good kid because I don't drink. But I went to juniors after that. I got recruited to play in Wisconsin and play in one of the top leagues in the country. And once that happened, I started getting into drinking. I got to the party scene. And I also started smoking weed and doing that whole gig. And I was doing well in hockey though, and like all this came along with it. I was doing well in hockey, and I was like, oh, obviously it doesn't hurt me. Like I'm gonna do well. I'm gonna get my scholarship. I had a good first year in hockey, and I was excelling, and I thought like all my friends were feeding me all this stuff, like I was gonna get my scholarship. All my teammates were telling me like, oh, you're good. My coaches, schools were talking, schools were calling, and my first year was great. I had a great time, like hockey-wise. I had a great time. I had a good teammate to be around, and we had a good time hockey-wise. And I thought that was what life's all about. And I had a great time. I was on ultimate high. I was like, wow, this is gonna happen. Like my goals are gonna come true. I'm gonna get my Division I scholarship. And then the next summer, I spent all summer just working hard, training hard, and going to get that scholarship. That pretty much all I cared about was getting that scholarship. And I came back my second year, and we weren't that good. We were a very poor team, and I was leading the team with points, and it didn't mean anything. We couldn't score a goal. We went on 13 periods without scoring a goal, which is 4 games. Our whole team didn't score 1 goal, and schools came out to watch, and I couldn't score a goal, so that's not good. And came home for Christmas break, and came home to my family, and my family was like, "What's wrong with you?" And I was like, "What do you mean? Like I'm fine." And it's like, "No, you're not the same person you were, and like you just seem sad. You seem like something's wrong." I was like, "Yeah, well, I'm not getting what I want. Like hockey's terrible. I hate hockey. Like I don't want to play hockey anymore." And I was just saying like how bad it stunk. And these 2 years I just play hockey. All I do is play hockey. I had nothing to worry about. No school, no nothing. And I was sitting there telling how bad my life was, about how I can't get my scholarship and the schools won't call me. And I was feeling self-pity. My mom was telling me how I was looking for pity. I was looking for someone to feel sorry for me. And when I got back from Christmas break, me and my friend were like, "Let's go to church." Because when everyone's sad, they go to church, right? And so me and my friend were like, "Let's go to church this Sunday." And we were planning on it until Hockey Ministries came into my life. And it's called HMI, Hockey Ministries International. And they hold chapels at teams like North Dakota, Minnesota. They actually hold chapels here at Rochester Institute of Technology. They hold chapels at Nazareth, Rockport, and now Geneseo. So the guy's name was Max Erickson, and he came to our team that Wednesday before we even got to go to church. And me and my friend were like, and we all happened, like, look how that happened. And so we talked to him, and he came to our team, and he's like, I want to introduce who I am. I want to introduce you what my plan is here at your team. If anyone's interested, I want to hold a chapel here every Wednesday. And he's like, would anyone be interested? And we looked around the whole team. Everyone's like, no, I was interested. And then I raised my hand, and everyone's like, Ripples? Like, what? Like, what are you talking about? And so I went and talked to him every Wednesday, and we had the chapel. Some of the guys came sometimes. But really for me, it was really awesome because he really worked with me a lot. And we would spend hours together on the Wednesdays. We would spend extra time before and after the chapel. And I never read the Bible until a year ago. didn't read a single verse. I had no idea what it was. And a year ago, I started digging into the Word, and he led me through John and really explained it all.